Kennedy Agyapong is now in a position where I think say he's not going to be happy. Now the reason I think Kennedy Agyapong is not going to be happy in the position I was finding him and say a nkrofo campaign ebe yusu, in fact Bawumia camp ebe yusu edia campaign etiano. Now this is coming from Global Info Analytics on new reports aba. I am going to read the report. We are going to try to make sense out of the report, and then we see what's going on. Mr. Enda, your first time subscribing, click the notification bell on the show. Again, this is our latest news be about one Ebeka. Now, I have two recommendations for you. The first one, it is about your health. So, what you mean with food esun? Now, opese with food a form in 10 be 1 month. Me recommend the book amount. Now, book no better on yama miensa. Asanya mamiensa no to me this so pepe for 1 month ba obi unsenya we full paper from. Now I'm speaking this way because me and me meti here make say I am a product of the book. Embre bi na mefu eni. And that me ka say the same person me mefu eni. Inti no say uti me na un person be spend this sika e de akwa akoto eduro bia say eduro no be ma we fu akofom ne sanya mana. The book is going to show you 3 things. Odi ane se obeye. Open book ni be at 055-807-4986. The book is just 100 CDs. Uti 100 CDs no. Now WhatsApp ya. Yebema book no WhatsApp and yebema ni 3 video. Obi a watch with YouTube ya no. There is a link in the comment box. O click here. Partial and the obenya book no enimu hona. The second recommendation na saying say ni ni na ye complaining because you say wasi results abama nkola ne dodo na failure. Na se wuti mi na wo fasibi wo ba ana wankasa wakwa kotro wasi no ankoye ana wo ebusuani bi a watro wasi no nanso ankoye a me recommend Sanctuary International School. Now Sanctuary International School no Dansuman, and the only reason why I'm recommending this school and they say na saying in kolana tro wasi ana kolana tro exams no ba kumpu infeli omuni na pass here. Now the school has hostel facilities and so it doesn't matter where you are coming from. Now open more details are for 050-9366-006. Sanctuary International School. Your exam success no, it will be achieved. Anyway, young concept anymore. So, send the American and Kennedy Agyapong will not like to be in this particular position because of what is coming. Now, we'll say NDC and floating voters. Now, but the truth of the matter is a bittersweet. It is a bittersweet thing for Kennedy Agyapong, right here. And I'm going to talk about the bitter side and I'm going to talk about the sweet side. Now, the bitter side, Negrano, it is coming from internal politics. Now, sending in and say, Global Info Analytics for new polls and Wamoye etre say, NDC for any floating voters, I prefer Kennedy Agyapong to lead the MPP. NDC for and the floating voters. Now, let's read and then get the understanding. I'll say a new social media poll shared by the executive director of Global Info Analytics, Musa Dankwa, suggests a shift in preference among NDC voters and floating voters regarding the new Patriotic Party flag bearer contest. According to Dankwa, the latest online sampling points towards an increased preference for Kennedy Agyapong over former Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. Sharing the graphic on social media, Dankwa stated that in a new twist in the MPP race, the social media poll shows the majority of NDC voters and floating voters now prefer Honorable Kennedy Agyapong than Bawumia, contrary to previous polling data. He explained that the poll shows Kennedy Agyapong attracts 39% of NDC voters' support, compared with 33% for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. KAA is in third place with 14%. Among floating voters, Dankwa added that Kennedy Agyapong again leads with 38%, followed by Dr. Bawumia at 32%, with former Trade Minister Kojo Alantremantin 15%. According to him, it remains unclear whether these online trends will match more traditional polling channels. Dankwa stated that it is yet to be confirmed if this new twist will be reflected in the telephone and face-to-face edition of the National Tracking Poll, which starts next week. Now, I'm going to talk about technically what this means, and we are also going to talk about politically what this means and propaganda-wise what it means. Now, technically, this is what I think this means. I personally believe that if the MPP, and this is not me supporting Kennedy Agyapong. You know my stance when it comes to Kennedy Agyapong. I personally believe that the temperament, the emotions, he's not fit to be a president. But from the data or from the polls we are getting, what this means is that if the MPP wants to come to power any moment soon, they should go in for Kennedy Agyapong. I'm going to say it again. Data way, for me, what it means is that if the MPP wants to come to power any moment soon, if the MPP wants to win power anytime soon, they should go in for Kennedy Agyapong. For me, that is what it means. Now, technically, the Indian America sir, say, Mama what you say, Ghana ha, and your political party supporters in Kwan and my political party biba power. I have told you, so the strength of the MPP and NDC virtually they are at par. They be America. Say Ghana for your fan crop for 100 and no more to buy 100. MPP will bear 40%, NDC technically bear 40. Now I'm saying, oh yeah, I'll tell you, say NDC is hedging towards, hedging or is ahead of MPP. Kakra, now I'm saying here, wait to me akasa. Say NDC, when MPP name kakra. But aside that, no, see FABBR technically ground zero. MPP were 40, NDC were 40. The other 20 are floating voters. The other 20 are floating voters. The truth of the matter is that see can't floating voters are Bawumia, he's not going to win the floating voters. Why? Because Ghana for Ehun as part of President Akufo-Addo. It's as simple as that. A common mathematics. If you don't understand, Ghanaians are not happy with President Akufo-Addo, and Ghanaians saw Bawumia as part of President Akufo-Addo's governance. So Ghana 4 are not happy with them. Into floating voters, they want a new face. Now, some new face, no. Kennedy Agyapong in that position is better than Bawumia. And so it does not shock me that both NDC and floating voters prefer Kennedy Agyapong. Yes, technically, we baby said and NDC prefer Kennedy Agyapong. Probably they have their own reasons. But minim NDC nibia or frame me NDC penibia and bribia or frame or katem say Charlie Kennedy Agyapong the no quarry say MPP for the neba NDC asoba issue. Yes, and there are some NDC people who know this. There are some NDC people technically who know this. Kennedy Agyapong the oba and yes say oba na soba say na soba because oba the floating voter side. Yes, there are a group of people especially the elites, right? Omo mususu say ya ko school ye wo nimdie ne nyama no omo de omo pe Kennedy Agyapong asem. But alofo no edos nse omo mo akọ school no and alofo no nso de bebre na fili Kennedy Agyapong. It's deep down in NDC they know say the Kennedy Agyapong si one the Bawumia si wa Kennedy Agyapong will give a tough fight than Bawumia. Devoid of what personally I think about him, but that is the truth. And before God and man, I'm telling you the truth. Now propaganda womu and they say NPP for and then the propaganda etia Kennedy Agyapong. Dientia. Because Ghana politics are yababe drew no, and our politics are ye no. Ababa be ye say NDC na eka asemo a yentina se ehun se asemo a NDC kan nyansa wom dabi. The fact that it is coming from NDC in Kwade and the young MPP yen support it. It is a NDC force your mope Kennedy Agyapong there. MPP for because Bawumia crop for because yankan NDC for say omo pe Kennedy Agyapong dey intia no omo pe Kennedy Agyapong because omo nim say Kennedy Agyapong ba and na NDC be winning. Why? Because NDC omo so they are looking towards their interest, right? Just for the want of a better word. NDC for so pe omo interest. The NDC per se udi obi beba nipa kon beba be winning omo. Nti MPP for Bawumia for betumi use as propaganda tia Kennedy Agyapong say di ntia na NDC for say wo na omo pe. Na twe so mo nim say wo ba omo NDC be winning. But if there's one thing, this might sound very controversial. Listen, if there's one thing I've learned, especially in recent years, today I want to let everything out. If there's one thing I've learned, especially in recent years, is the fact that Bawumia me se nyame aka say Bawumia obedane president obedane president ene de odi antumi nya ho hwe. But if there's one thing I've learned in recent times, hwe enyama be ko etia Bawumia ho, a fundamental one will be for it will, and I'm not saying that is right, but a fundamental one will be that Bawumia, just because he's a Muslim, Bawumia is a Muslim, Sadia no, Ayana Ghana for we don't want to address it. But the mission recently, especially this month and last month, Ebeye din say Bawumia better than the president of Kroma. Now the man mission Sadia no Nancy SHS in somewhere by no. No Nancy SHS in somewhere by no. In Kremofo, a Christopher Kun in Ababe Trotro letters, like I say, ye man Kremofo, you see, Ama Monsieur say a bad thing. There are people who personally vote against Bawumia just because he's a Muslim. And these people are Christians, like hardcore Christians. Wamo a dos one woman person bekasa. Anyway, I've told you what this data means. Won't try your comment box in moment.